If you'd like, turn to Psalms 90. Psalms 90 in just a moment. We'll be using verse 10, 11, and 12. I'm sure you've heard a long time ago the old country song that said, "Life's a dance, you learn as you go." And that is life. I think that is a really good description of life. It is something we learn as it unfolds and we go on our way. And our time is very limited. That is where Psalms 90 comes into play, where he writes, "As for the days of our life, they contain 70 years. Or if in due strength 80 years, yet their pride is but labor and sorrow. For soon it is gone, and we fly away. Who understands the power of your anger and the fury according to the fear that is due you? So teach us to number our days, so that we may present to you a heart of wisdom." And so we go through time and we let it make us or we let it break us. That is our individual choice. It is our mindset approach to how we work with life. And I'm going to encourage you to embrace it and live it with gusto. And by gusto, I mean, of course, with that fervor and that enthusiasm that God would have us live it, because this life is a gift. And we all know it's a gift, and we all want it to persist, that we might enjoy it for many, many more years. And so the time you have, live it and give it all you got. Now, this in a way is a lesson for the folks on the younger side, though all of us can learn something from it. I think some of us will have experienced these lessons a little more, and then we encourage the young to pick them up sooner. So we always need God. And overconfident pride is probably one of the biggest challenges we run into. Now, there are problems. We have our youthful years where we do some things we didn't think through so well and maybe be a little reckless. But those we know we're wrong. And we hope not to get caught in the process of it, especially Mama not catching us, if you know what I mean, and how that went, at least back in the 60s. But I think the bigger danger is getting on into life and getting through the rough times and you're into what I'm going to call the smoother stages of life. Now, there's still a lot of responsibility, but you start to think, I got this. I can do this on my own, and I don't need God. And once we start getting that kind of overconfident pride, life will teach us that, no, we're wrong. We absolutely need God. James 4:7-8 would tell us to draw near to God. And that is what we want to start doing as young as we can, is to seek out God and His Word and His wisdom and to follow the map of His Word as we travel our lives upward. We're dependent on Him for the sun and the rain and everything in between. And if you'll contemplate what all the sun and the rain brings into your life, you'll understand how greatly indebted to God you are. If He took away His sun and His rain, we would not be here much longer after that gift was removed. So life is training in cooperation with God, the events of life, and learning to run the obstacle course of life with the greatest wisdom you can muster. And you run it best when you understand that you always need God. There's never a time you outgrow God. Number two, it's not about you. I'm going to use marriage as the example for this, but this would work in any relationship, and you can look over here to Ephesians 5 if you would. And I'm going to focus more on the man than the woman. And the reason I do that is because the man, at least by Scripture, is supposed to be the head of the house. He is the one that is supposed to be taking the spiritual lead. And then the woman follows along that lead. And so we see that the husband, I'm looking at verse 25, Ephesians 5:25. Husbands, love your wives just as Christ also loved the church and gave Himself up for her. And then it's to bless her so that He may sanctify her. And so on and so forth. Verse 28, husbands ought to love their own wives as their own bodies. Who loves his own wife loves himself. When we enter into a marriage and any relationship, again, it's not about me. What can I get? What can I get? What can I get? It's really about how can we serve and how can we have Christ likeness, because marriage and other relationships are that opportunity to practice Christ likeness. I think sometimes we think the opportunity to practice Christ likeness is some evasive out there somewhere event that's going to pop up someday somewhere down the road. I really hadn't seen it yet. But the reality is it's in every encounter. And it's in those encounters that happen at home behind closed doors that nobody else sees that reveal really the depth of whether or not we're really getting to that level of Christ likeness. The way a wife treats her husband, respects him, reveals her dedication to really being Christian, and the way the husband cares for his wife, and the way the children honor their parents, and the way the parents raise their children in the nurture and admonition of the Lord, so on and so forth, and we just expand that out more and more. These are opportunities to practice the love of 1 Corinthians 13, 4 through 8. You know that classic definition of love. It's kind. It looks out for the good of other people. That's the love. And this is what we do, is we enter into relationships learning for opportunities to practice those things. And one of the greatest things I had been told, and I was told this when I was 20, and it made an impression. It's still in my head, so I guess that made an impression. A happy marriage is not about finding the right person. It is about being the right person. And that's not just in marriage, but that's just in any relationship. And if you were to check down through your relationships and go, well, I had trouble in that one, 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 I would suggest at some point it's time to look in the mirror and go, other people are not the problem. I'm not being the right person. Kind of like the person who's been married and divorced 3, 4, 5 times and says, I just hadn't found the right one yet. I think you're missing the point. You got to be the right one. Christianity, this is one of the things that helps us, this understanding that it's about us being the right person, not discovering the right people. Number 3, prioritize being useful. We all want to be liked. We all want to be accepted and valued. And I'm not saying, I hope it doesn't come across, that there's something negative or bad about that. I don't think there's anything bad about that at all. I think we are this way because this is the way God created us. We are social creatures, and we want to blend in together with other people. And blending in together with other people means being liked and accepted and valued. That just all goes together. But we have to be a little careful about placing too much value on being liked and accepted and approved by other people. And we have that warning in Matthew 6 and verse 1, where Christ said, beware of practicing your righteousness before men to be noticed by them. Otherwise you have no reward with your Father who is in heaven. There are folks who do the good they do to get the applause of people. And the danger there is that the applause of people will never satisfy the deepest hunger of one's heart. There will always be something missing because we weren't created to be fed on the applause of men. So we all have a useful role one way or the other. The thing is to define it within the life that you actually live and really get a good, honest perspective on it. That's a little more challenging in our social media day because when you look at social media roles, everybody looks like they're living way up here on top of the hill, and all that is their highlight reels, and we've discussed those before. You do not judge your daily life based on the highlight reels that other people post on Facebook or YouTube or wherever they happen to post it. But because we do tend to do that, we kind of think, well, I'm not useful. I don't serve any purpose. I don't have a role. Yes, you do. You just need to focus a little closer. Look a little closer to the circle that is around you. Because in all likelihood, there are people who are going to miss you greatly when you're gone. And that is because you have a useful role in their life. And they have a useful role in your life. It's kind of a synergistic relationship. I know we say you scratch my back and I'll scratch yours. That sounds a little selfish. I don't know if that's selfish or not. We can work on that later. But I know that's the way life works. You go to the job and you work for the boss. Why? Because you're just good charity? Or he's giving you a paycheck? Ah, okay, now I get it. We all have a useful role. So get out there and prioritize being useful, but be aware of the takers and the users. There are people who are selfish and manipulative, and they will drain you of every emotional ounce of energy you have. They will drain you of every dollar. They will drain you of all your physical energy. They will suck you dry. And when they're done, they will kick you to the curb like an empty can of soda pop and walk on to find the next victim. I'm not encouraging you to be a victim at all. But I am encouraging you to find your place where you fulfill a role in that little social circle that you inhabit. And that's a good place to find. That's a good place to be. Your eyes are a gate. We tend to go the direction we look. I don't know why it works that way, but isn't it the truth? You tend to focus on something, you're going to gravitate that way. Some people a little quicker or slower, but that's the way it goes. Matthew 6:22 and 23, he says, the eye is the lamp of the body. So if your eye is clear, your whole body will be full of light. But if your light is bad, your eye is bad, the whole body will be full of darkness. If then the light that is in you is darkness, how great is that darkness? We have to be so careful about what we let in through our vision, because this is probably the primary avenue for input into our heart. So Psalm 101 and verse 3, he says, I will set nothing wicked before my eye. And so you don't sit and feast on it and look at it. If you see it and you're out and about and you see it, or you're scrolling across your Facebook and you see it, you can't really help that. But you do know how to scroll on, don't you? Swipe on past that. I don't need to be looking at that. Let me go on down here. Somebody's got some chocolate chip cookies on there they just baked. Let me find that picture, that kind of thing. But you don't stop and ponder it. You can't keep the birds from flying over your head, as the old saying goes, but you don't have to let them build a nest in your hair. Some folks are a little inclined to let the birds build a nest in their hair. Proverbs 24 and 23 says you need to guard your heart with all diligence, for out of it flow the issues of life. Let's see how close I got that. Proverbs 4:23. Watch over your heart with all diligence, for from it flows the springs of life. Wish I'd known that a little earlier. Wish I'd kept some crazy ideas out of my head when I was 16, 20, 25. Christianity, number 5, it's not comfortable. It was never meant to be comfortable. Luke 9:23, he's going to tell us to take up our cross. He's going to tell us this is a tough path to travel. Luke 9:23. And he was saying to them all, if anyone wishes to come after me, he must deny himself, take up his cross daily and follow me. For whoever wishes to save his life will lose it. But whoever loses his life for my sake, he is the one who will save it. Let's do the next verse. For what is a man profited if he gains the whole world and loses or forfeits himself? Christianity's hard. This is a tough discipline. There are a lot of philosophies in the world that you could follow, and Christianity, done according to the Scripture, is the Navy SEALs version of it all. It's the Special Forces version of it all, if you do it according to the Scriptures. So we enlisted to fight the good fight. I'm afraid a lot of modernism has redefined it and enlisted people for entertainment and recreation. They enlisted people to sit back and enjoy a good entertaining sermon, enjoy a few good songs, and we're going to call that a great worship service and head out our way. But Paul said we fight the good fight, 1 Timothy 6:12. Christ said we take up our cross. We sacrifice our lives. It is a straight and narrow way, and we keep pressing on. Let's go over to 2 Timothy 4, verse 7 and 8. 2 Timothy 4. Paul understood the pressing on. He said, "For I have fought the good fight. I have finished the course. I have kept the faith. In the future there is laid up for me a crown of righteousness, which the Lord, the righteous judge, will award to me on that day. And not only to me, but also to all who have loved his appearing." Paul learned to fight, and he set us an example on how to fight. And the scripture tells us that if you want to find your comfort zone, you want to get into an easy place, that's not a good place to be. Revelation 3:15 and 16 is about the lukewarm. Now, what does he do with the lukewarm? He spews them out. That's not a good place to be. We want to learn to be Christian soldiers. And then we get into self-control, which is obviously an essential thing to learn. And the earlier you can learn it, the better, because skill without self-control does not have a whole lot of value to it. Proverbs 16:32 gives us some great wisdom in regard to self-control. It says, "He who is slow to anger is better than the mighty, and he who rules his spirit than he who captures a city." You want to be stronger than somebody who captures a city? There you go. Learn to discipline your body. Bring it into subjection, Paul would say, so that after he had taught other people, he himself would not be disqualified. So what we do is we get rid of the excuses and the victim mindset. That is so prevalent, not just in our culture. It has been in other cultures going back in history. But I think it's got a pretty good run right now. Well, it's not my fault. I didn't do it. Everybody else is at fault. The world didn't do me right. My parents didn't raise me right. My parents didn't say the right things to me. My teacher was mean to me. My boss is mean, and on and on and on it goes. And that never solves anything. Never. If that were the avenue to peace and inner joy, then everybody who wanted peace and inner joy would have it. The best avenue I know is to learn self-control. And that's a tough one. And you're not going to bat 1,000 on that one either. Understand that your friends do influence you. We're not above being influenced. Oh, I know we'd like to think we are sometimes. The fact is we're human, and now and then somebody catches our ear, or maybe somebody catches our heart. Proverbs 27:17 says that as iron sharpens iron, so we sharpen one another. That's what we do. That's our influence on one another. 1 Corinthians 15:33 would warn us that evil companions corrupt good morals. You cannot hang around bad people and elevate. I know people think, well, I'm going to hang around this bad group of people and I'm going to bring them all up. I'm going to bring them up the hill with me. Well, that's a nice idea. How often does it work? Most often they get brought down the hill with the group going down the hill, because it's way easier to go downhill than it is to go up the hill. And so we get caught up in things for various reasons. You've got to be careful who you hang around. Even modern research, not in religious areas, will say if you hang around people that make less money than you or are less intelligent than you, we can measure you after a time, and your income and your intelligence will go down. If you hang around people that make more money than you and are smarter than you, we can measure you over time, and guess what happens? Your intelligent income goes up. Now, modern research is not telling us anything we didn't already know. We already knew. Evil companions corrupt good morals, and good people help bring us up. It's always been that way. That's the way it works. So downhill, it's way easier to do than uphill. It takes a lot of focus and effort to keep going uphill. Number 8, hurt, cry, but don't quit. Can I do the Churchill quote? It's only 5 words, isn't it? Never, never, never give up. Don't quit. Don't ever quit. You can fall. That's okay. We're all going to fall sometime. But you don't quit. And the secret is you can't lose if you don't quit. So your tears are a sign of value. They're a sign that something has happened in your life that meant something to you. Today, while this lesson was being delivered, while you're eating lunch, while you're taking a nap, people all around the world are going to pass away into eternity. Are you going to cry all afternoon? And I'm going to guess you're not, because those people were not in your life to bring value to your life. But let someone in your life who brings a value to your life pass away. Let a pet that you love pass away. And now you have tears. Tears are a sign that something is valuable to you, that it meant something to you. Tears are not bad. You can cry. What did Paul say? Weep with those who weep, rejoice with those who rejoice. So pain is part of the struggle. You're just going to go through it. And if you start, I'm going to go to Psalms 42:5. If you start looking for a system that has no pain in it, no struggle in it, I'm looking for a way that's all sweet and smooth and easy, you're never going to find it, because it doesn't work that way. Psalmist said, "Why are you in despair, O my soul, and why have you become disturbed within me? Hope in God, for I shall praise him again for the help of his presence." We keep looking to God. We stay in the race. We don't quit. We don't give up. I've already said it once. Let me say it again. You cannot lose if you refuse to quit. But if you quit, you cannot win. Revelation 2:10 says, "Be thou faithful unto death." That's the goal. That's the ideology here. Number 9, being tempted is not a failure. Of course you're going to be tempted. This is one of the mistakes we make. We think, oh, I'm a bad person. I was tempted. And yet the answer to that is so easy. Who was tempted in the wilderness? By Satan. Who deliberately walked into that wilderness? Oh, wait a minute. I don't guess being tempted makes you a failure, does it? No, being tempted does not make you a failure. You're not a failure until you get into the yes. Now, that's another thing. But just because temptations roll around, that doesn't make you bad. Temptation is the battlefield. And every time you say no, you win. And I do want to read 1 Corinthians 10:13. And I want to address very quickly an odd little thought that some people have, that their situation is the only one like this that has ever existed on earth. Nobody else in all of the 6,000 years of humanity has been tempted like I have, or has experienced what I have, or has lived through what I have. And at some point we have to get over that nonsense and go, no, I'm not that special. No temptation has overtaken you, but such is common to man. Are you being tempted? I don't care what avenue, what example you have in mind. Are you being tempted? It's happened billions of times before you. You're not the exception. You're not the rare victim. You're not Satan's special target. No temptation has overtaken you, but such is common to man. God is faithful and will not allow you to be tempted beyond what you're able, but with the temptation will provide the way of escape so that you'll be able to endure it. And now we're back to making the right choice. So every win, every no, every not going down that path, that's your win. So turn your attention to heaven. Colossians 3:1 and 2 would say, set your mind on heaven. That's where you want to be doing. That's what you want to start as early as you can. And finally, number 10, Bible's not optional. Matthew 4:4 says, man doesn't live by bread alone, but every word that proceeds out of the mouth of God. I want you to get in there, read it, learn it, apply it, read it, learn it, apply it, and keep going. In 2 Timothy 3:16 and 17, he says, all Scripture is given by inspiration. And then he tells us how it's profitable, so that we can be complete and thoroughly furnished unto every good work. And then Psalms 119 and verse 9 I've got 105 up there because I know you know that one. I need to read verse 9, though. How shall a young man keep his way pure? By keeping it according to your word. And you go on to 105 there if you want. Look, the narrow way is hard. True. But it's the best way. The broad road, it may look easier in some ways, but it's got its struggles and its problems and its pains too. I want you to just contemplate your so-called non-Christian friends, the people who don't get involved in any kind of church. Are they really rocking it? Is their life really super great, special? They're just like living on cloud nine the whole time because they've excluded God from their life, and that was the secret that led them to a new level of ecstasy. It's not so, is it? Kind of funny, but all of my non-Christians acquaintances, they struggle with life just the same way I do, if not more so, because they have no depth on which to rest. So all these lessons they weave together, there's an intellectual aspect and there's the experiential aspect to them, because these are things you learn as you go and they finally dawn on you at a new level. We grow stronger by practice, by getting back up, by getting back up, by getting back up. And when we're going through a dark time, we have to understand God is walking through that dark time with us. And He is. So, win or stumble, yes, we do. But we refuse to stay down. We refuse to give up. We keep getting back up. So that's where I'm going to close. Are you getting back up? Do you refuse to stay down? Say, man, that fall hurt, but I'm getting back up. If you have a good get back up mentality, then stay the course. If you don't, we can help you in some way. Let's do so. I'll stand and please.